You're listening to the Sports Investor Podcast with Professor MJ, session number 19. Today I'll be discussing my NFL picks for week number 11. Enjoy the show!
Welcome to the Sports Investor Podcast, where it's all about smart sports betting. Here is your host, Professor MJ.
Hello my friends, it's good talking to you again. This is Professor MJ from Quebec City. Our picks went 2-2 last week, with a couple of them providing quite a bit of drama. We hit the Seahawks pick when it looked like we were going to lose the bet, when Arizona scored a touchdown with 20 seconds left in the game. However, a blocked extra point saved the day, as Seattle won by a 6-point margin, while the spread was 5.5 at the time I posted my picks last week. However, we did not get as much luck on the Browns pick. Cleveland took an early 10-point lead as 13-point underdogs, but still found a way to blow it in typical Browns fashion.
You have got to be kidding.
They even had a golden opportunity to cover the spread, with a first and goal at the 4-yard line with less than 2 minutes remaining. But you guessed it, they managed to mess it up with an interception. My gosh, these Browns will never stop to amaze me. Okay, so overall this season, our record is 23, 13, and 2, which corresponds to a 64% success rate. Yahoo! This week I've got 3 picks for you, and I want to dedicate this episode to the people listening from Mexico. Hola muchachos! Pick number 1. Seahawks minus 2.5 points against the Falcons. At the time of this recording, the line is either 2.5 or 3, depending on your bookie. 5 Dimes is one of the sports books that currently has 2.5, so I took it. I've got plenty of reasons to go with Seattle in this one, but let me start with arguments that make me worry a little bit. First, the Seahawks are coming off a very physical game against the Cardinals, a game in which many players went down to injuries, including cornerback Richard Sherman, who was lost for the rest of the year. Left tackle Dwayne Brown, who was just acquired from the Texans, went down in the first half, and it's unclear whether he'll be able to suit up or not. However, the chances are good that Seattle will welcome free safety Earl Thomas back on the field. I'm also worried about the recent progression shown by the Falcons. They were off to a very disappointing start to the season, but have shown signs of life over the past 3 games. First, they beat the Jets in New York, then lost 20-17 in a tough environment in Carolina, and beat the Cowboys 27-7 last week. Okay, let me now reveal why this pick is interesting from my point of view. You know how much I value the rest factor in the NFL. The Seahawks are benefiting from 3 additional days of rest after playing last Thursday night. Also, they will be looking to avenge a 36-20 road elimination loss in the playoffs last year. Please note that the Seahawks had previously beaten them 26-24 in Seattle. I also like the fact that Atlanta will need to travel 3 time zones for this game. I'm aware that it's not such a big deal when playing Monday night, but it's still an adjustment to make. As of now, 64% of spread bets and 75% of moneyline bets have gone on Atlanta, and yet the line has not moved. So perhaps we've got a little more sharp money backing Seattle. Pick number 2. Raiders plus 7 points against the Patriots in Mexico. I know it's always risky to fade the Patriots, but I'll do it anyway. The Raiders are coming off their bye week, so they've had plenty of time to game plan for this critical matchup. Meanwhile, the Pats are coming off an easy 41-16 win over the Broncos, but maybe that game was too easy and did not provide such a good preparation ahead of this Sunday's game. The betting public is literally pounding New England right now, with 87% of spread bets and 94% of moneyline bets going on Belichick's squad. As a consequence, sportsbooks have moved the line from 5.5 to 7. I don't believe it will go much higher, so I recommend grabbing it now. Pick number 3. Vikings minus 2 points against the Rams. Who would have thought, prior to the start of the season, that this game would feature a couple of 7-2 teams? What a great matchup in perspective. And for the second week in a row, I'm betting on the Vikings.
Yes!
Pinnacle and other bookies currently have a 2.5 spread, but Bovada and Sports Interaction are posting a line of 2. This time, we've got a team that has to travel 2 time zones from west to east. With the game scheduled to start at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, that's the equivalent of 10 a.m. for people coming from Los Angeles. My main argument concerns the Rams' past 3 contests. They are coming off 3 easy wins over lousy clubs. On week number 7, they shut out the Cardinals 33-0 as Carson Palmer had to leave the game in the first half. They were on a bye the following week before hammering the Giants 51-17 in New York. Finally, they beat up on the Texans 33-7 last week, but do I need to remind you that they were missing their all-star QB Deshaun Watson and perhaps the best defensive player in the league, J.J. Watt? They will face a much stiffer test this week, and I'm afraid they won't be up to the task. The Rams are 4-0 on the road this year, while the Vikings are 4-1 at home. We are observing a small reverse line move on this game, as roughly 60% of the bets have gone on the Rams, while the line still went in favor of the Vikings, from 2 to 2.5. I like it. I would be mad at myself if I forgot to thank some of you. Last week, I mentioned that I was fairly disappointed by the small number of reviews I had gotten on podcasting platforms thus far, despite having a decent-sized audience. But this call to action was well understood by many of you. I went from 12 to 25 reviews within a couple of days. So a big thank you to those of you who were responsible for that number to double so quickly. My podcast is slowly climbing the ladder among sports betting shows, and it's because of you, my faithful listeners. If you have not rated nor left a comment about my podcast yet, I invite you to do so. It only takes 1 minute and it does make a difference. Alright, so this is it for today. I'm confident that we will win at least 2 of our 3 NFL picks this week. Best of luck to all of us. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you soon. Cheers, everyone.